This is the third preliminary round of PIC number 19. So looking forward to getting you all on stage. So let's share slides and let's get this show kicked off a bit. Just while we're doing that, you can keep yourself on mute. You can absolutely show camera all the way through. Stay as long as you want through the PIC session. It's always great to learn what other innovators are doing, we find. And I'll start the show and we'll give instructions. So welcome everybody. And let's move on with slides. Right, rules are simple. You probably know them already, but if you don't, the rules are 3 minutes, and that's a hard stop, 3 slides, and there's 3 dragons. And I'd like to welcome our dragons. We have 2 of them here today. We have Celine and Olga, so very welcome to you. In fact, we'll have a picture of you now in a second. There you go. So our team this time is Celine and Olga, as I've said, who are here. Salvo can't join us today, but he will be part of the judging panel, and the dragons do the judging on their own. So you'll be pitching to them and your fellow innovators, and Marina and myself are looking after the show. We'll be our moderators, and we're ably supported by Erica Jeffries from Lockrow. Next slide. And by the way, you know, if you've ever heard the phrase "eat your own dog food," that's what I'm doing right now, because I'm saying next slide. Don't go to the next one. So, but that's what you will need to do today when you're pitching. You just say next slide, and we'll move to the next slide for you. One question will come from dragons or myself, and we'll just keep your answers to the point, please, and you'll have a minute for the question. In your pitch, keep an eye on me, you'll see 10 seconds left. So if you just need some help on time, and then when we get to 3 minutes, I will ask you to stop. So sorry about that, but them's the rules. So great. Marina, I think we're ready to go. Have we got
Yes,
our
but
first
before we
innovator?
go, let's see how many people
innovator.
we have today. You know, this is the 3Cubed pre-final. It's 3Cubed because we have 3 questions, 3 slides, and 3 minutes. But we have something more, which is 3Cubed, and that's the number of participants. Dave, I hope you appreciate the numerical joke. We have 9 participants, which is 3 to the power of 3, which is 3Cubed as well. And the first one for today is Carolina Freire from Uber.
And we got 27. Hold on a sec. We got 27 entries, didn't we? That's 3Cubed.
Nah, but we had 9 plus 8 plus 9, so 1 is missing. We need to find out where the 27th went.
3Cubed minus 1.
Yeah, okay. Right. Yeah. Anyways, let me go to the stage, and I'm really pleased to introduce Carolina from Uber, who is going to talk about Snap and Auto MQM. Carolina, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Yeah, so hi everyone, I'm Carolina Freire, and I will be presenting on Snap and Auto MQM, Uber's Gen AI solution for LQA software testing. So let's get started. Next slide, please. About 23% of an organization's annual IT spending is dedicated to quality assurance and testing. So to anyone managing LQA program, the question is how to scale software testing to multiple languages and markets at the lowest operational cost as possible. And the solution is Snap Auto MQM, an AI-powered bug detection system that automatically flags potential linguistic and non-linguistic bugs in localized content. And next slide. And then now you ask me, okay, there are so many Gen AI tools and models out there. What makes Snap so unique? Why is it different? So first of all, Snap detects linguistic bugs using Uber's MQM framework. So it's not just a simple pass and fail, but it provides a granular score by classifying errors into a comprehensive taxonomy. So it tells you exactly what the error is. And it also flags layout and internationalization issues and raises the bug ticket directly into the Jira environment. So far, Uber has seen a 60% reduction in time spent on manual sanity and regression testing, and 90% savings compared to traditional script-based automation. So Snap is a comprehensive, cost-effective solution designed to scale multilingual software testing. And now I would like to show you a quick demo of Snap in action. So next slide. Yeah, this is very quick because we don't have much time, but you can see it's a very user-friendly tool where you can design your test case. You select the instructions for the test case execution, and then Snap runs the same execution in multiple languages, as many languages as you would like. So here on this demo, we are using Uber Rider app for German. We did in English, and now Snap is running the same test case in German. You can see the final report it generates. It tells you exactly what the bug is and the screenshot where the bug appears. So you can take action to solve the bug. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks very much, Carolina. Very great to see you on the PIC stage again, by the way. Great innovation to start us off. Thank you. Olga, do you have a question for Carolina?
Yeah, I do. I'm actually like I'm quite impressed at the way that it looks and how it can reduce time and cost. How do you then, I mean, orchestrate the implementation and regression across all assets? Because of course it tells you that this is here, but then I mean, once you have quantified and qualified that, how do you do the second part, which is also very time consuming?
Sorry, what was the question? How do we do the second part, which is?
How do you automate or orchestrate from the flagging of the issue and the location of the issue to the implementation and regression of the corrections?
Okay, so you have to add your app there to the tool and then select what type of testing you would like to do. And it does either regression or localization testing. And I'm not sure if your question about the second part is how it raised the bug into Jira. Is that what specifically what you're asking about? Okay.
And then what?
Yes. Yeah, so there is this manual step where Uber can support like connecting the Snap tool to the Jira environment, and then it raises the ticket directly into Jira. But you have to give like there is one manual step where you give the instructions and make the connection between Snap and the Jira environment. But after that step is done, then everything is automated.
Okay. Thank you for
Thank
the
you.
clarification.
Thank you, Olga and Carolina. Now let's move on to our next participant, and this is John Weisgerber from XTM International, who is going to introduce Zakiieh. I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. So what is Zakiieh? Tell us about it.
Hi, everybody. I'm John from XTM, and I'm excited today to introduce you to Zakiieh, the future of human-in-the-loop localization operations. Next slide, please. We're all familiar with the problem. It's a long-standing problem of trying to do more with less in localization ops. The Gen AI is just accelerating this trend in terms of more fragmented translation workflows with different requirements. And it's mind-boggling to try to oversee all of that by your human staff, even with the best enterprise TMSs, clicking through dashboards, creating reports to analyze all this data, decide what to do. So Zakiieh is going to do that for you with agentic AI to erase this operational friction and go from insight to action in a fraction of time. that it would normally take. So can we go to the next slide, please, and play the video? This is a series of examples. So what is Zakiieh? It's not simply a chat bot, although it is that as well. It is actually a conversational interface to a strategic operations intelligence layer embedded in the app. It is actually a whole array of different AI agents, each specialized to a different task. And then there is a planner agent that interprets requests from the user and turns them into a sequence of jobs for the various agents in order to provide the insights requested. So we're talking about project management, prioritization, risk management, vendor resource management, financial planning, data visualization, and more. There's all separate agents going on there. And what you see here in these three examples is increasingly complex operations being performed by Zakiieh. I know it's pretty hard to see what's going on there. I just want to point out in the second example that all the user just says, what priorities should I look at today? And the agent suggests it looks at current status. It has access to all the data in the system for current status, progress, historical activity patterns, based on assigned vendors and things like that to help you decide what you need to focus on, pending due dates, of course, things like that. The AI has access to all the data in the system and can suggest courses of action. In the third example, the user with one single prompt, if you will, create 5 different projects into all standard EU languages using a generated workflow based on successfully historical patterns, things like that, and then adjust their due date in a batch operation. So next slide, please. We've chosen the initial use cases in where the nexus of pain generally commonly is. That's in localization operations. We're seeing a ton of success here, and but it's really only the beginning. We're going to expand to lots of different use cases as they prove themselves out. Also, for the moment, we're keeping Zakiieh on our short leash. We can talk more about that in the question. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Good to see you again.
Yeah, it's been a while. Excited to be here.
Good to have you here. Celine, do you have a question for John?
I do. Thanks, John. This definitely looks like a PM's best friend. Really like it. I'm just wondering, what is the initial investment to build the knowledge base to train the model for each account? And also, do you see it evolving into something that could support linguists as well?
I don't have a number on the initial investment. This operational intelligence layer is embedded into mature enterprise TMSs we're talking about. You saw examples in XTRF and XDM Cloud, which are within our little family of products. So the data is already there in the TMS, right? Bootstrapping a brand new customer would be a challenge without a doubt. But data is what it is. And so that stuff is already in the TMS. We're already looking at use cases on linguist side, particularly with regards to task management, as regards to project management. One of the things we're looking at, for example, is to be able to, linguist has tons of tasks assigned them, and the AI can evaluate the due dates and the volumes and progress and all that stuff and say, hey, maybe you could focus on these 3 different tasks right now because they're all from the same customer, they're all kind of the same content. Then you don't have to mentally context switches on. And you can get these done quicker if you batch them and then move on to other things. And it can look at, the client priorities and all that kind of stuff. We're seeing benefits all over the place, even internally, frankly, with onboarding. Yeah.
Thank you, John. I think I'll have to stop you here because time is out. Thank you very much for the presentation and the answer. Let's move on to the next participant, and this is Kevin Redford from the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints, who is going to take us to the world of sound and talk about multilingual pronunciation guides for AI dubbing and text-to-speech. Kevin, welcome on the stage.
Thank you. Like you said, I'm Kevin Redford from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and this is our pronunciation guide for AI text-to-speech. Next slide, please. So the church, we've been translating for almost 200 years, and today we translate into about 150 languages. It's been about a year now that we've been using AI voices for text-to-speech and dubbing, but the problem we often encounter is that it struggles to pronounce correctly many of our unique names, places, niche terminology, words like Amalekite Heights, Moroni, or Lemuelites. Even when we manipulate the spelling of a word so that it is pronounced correctly, the next use might have the same spelling, but be pronounced incorrectly. Not only that, but many languages and cultures interpret pronunciation differently, and traditional dictionaries lack standardized phonetic notations or audio references. So with this in mind, we've been working with a partner to create an AI-powered pronunciation guide. This guide will automatically generate phonetic transcriptions using IPA or the CMU alphabet. It will provide real-time pronunciation playback, include speech-to-phonetic transcription. Users can contribute, edit, and approve pronunciations. Next slide, please. When we add a term, we can either batch add them or we can add them one by one. We can include new notes, definitions, any other information you'd like. You can even record your own voice and have the AI generate a phonetic spelling based off of that pronunciation. Now in the editor, we can go in there and we can have AI generate a spelling and listen to it in real time and then adjust it as necessary using the symbol keyboards below. We can listen to each one of those symbols before we select it. This is also the same process using the International Phonetic Alphabet. Either one of these will now give us the correct pronunciation of Lemuelites. So once you've got everything set, you can save it, and then someone else can go in and review it and approve it later on. Finally, we can download these pronunciation guides, whether as the full document of all your terminology or just the pronunciation lexicon, the CMU alphabet, or the IPA. Then you can take these into whatever voice tool you are using, depending on the preference that it wants. Next slide, please. So what will be the impact? Pronunciation standardization. We will have consistency across multiple languages, not only for your project, but across multiple projects or products. When a word is saved in the pronunciation guide, it will be this. Every use of this word will be correct. The tool encourages collaboration that allows multiple people to enter, review, and approve pronunciations. You will consistently provide correct pronunciation, will give better support for automation, and require less time spent on quality assurance. And it is used across multiple projects, including ebooks, e-learning manuals, magazines, videos. We are currently having operational in English. We have 3 more languages that will be added by the end of the year, and a few more beyond that as needed. Thank you.
Very interesting, Kevin. Really nice pitch as well. And yeah, maybe I could learn something with my pronunciation from that. So let's get you a question, and maybe we could do with the guide because it's got to be me who asks you the question. So what is the minimum impact required to train the AI on a new language with this system?
Well, really, it's learning how to spell it. So the biggest thing is how do we spell it phonetically? Because most people don't know how to use the International Phonetic Alphabet. Most people don't know how to use the CMU alphabet. So it's really, first of all, we just use AI. AI will try and figure it out, and it's gotten a lot of things correct. Whatever it can't, then we go in and listen to each of those symbols, unless you know how to use the alphabet. But since you don't, most people don't, then you can just go in and listen to it and then select the word you want. Or you can just record yourself saying it. And then the AI will listen to that and phonetically write it out and match what you have spoken.
Fabulous. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. I love this one too. I think, Dave, we need it for the next PIC so that we pronounce the names of all participants correctly. That may help. And the next one is particularly challenging. I hope I'm going to say that right. Let me call to the stage Mathijs Sonnemans from Blackbird.io, who's going to talk about something with a fairly sinister name of Black Lake.
Thank you, Marina, and thank you for pronouncing my name exceptionally well. Yes, I'm Mathijs, VP of Product at Blackbird.io. Let's immediately get started with the next slide because we got a lot to cover. Language is alive. I think we can all agree with that. But we build our industry on technology that assumes language is completely dead. Translation memory was born 40 years ago, in a time when the translation process had documents coming in by mail. Not email, mail. When a buyer finally received their expensive translation, it was sacred, and translated content never changed. The translation process also barely changed in 40 years, but the world did. Today, content you create changes extremely fast, and so do its requirements. Language is alive again. But you are still stuck with the TM and its biggest flaw. It tries to force upon you the only thing it knows. This sentence was translated this way at some point, a moment in the past, even if that does not reflect the present. They become dirty and outdated, and together with TMs being siloed and locked to your cat tool, that's unacceptable in 2025. Next slide, please. We want your linguistic content to be instantly searchable, enriched, and performance aware. That is where Blacklake comes in. A solution that will track all content throughout all your systems with the goal of helping you improve it. How do we do this? Well, step one, when new content is created, translated, or otherwise transformed, it's tracked and kept in sync. And whenever it changes, Blacklake will know about it. Whether that's your SEO team gradually improving your website copy, your users interacting with your product, or your support team helping your customers. And step two, that content will have any custom annotations and metadata you want to attach to it. Your content has unique business goals, so you should be able to put these KPIs right next to your language. Next slide, please. Whenever you want to be translating, creating, or improving your content, you can query Blacklake to smartly leverage and pre-translate so that this content will be the best reflection of the real world and your ambitions. But it enables just more. Because content is kept in sync, even after translation, you can now actually edit your translations in context, meaning that anyone can update content where it lives. You are not tied to your cat tool anymore. Having all this data at your fingertips allows you to make global changes very quickly. Imagine that you want to change a particular key phrase or word. That can now be done instantly. And another headache we usually face is synchronizing TM across vendors and tools. That is also a thing of the past. Blacklake can always stay in sync and remove different silos of language data. We want content teams to have absolute control over their language across apps. You, or something we call autonomous, can detect certain language performing really well in one place, like help desk tickets being closed faster when certain wording is used, and immediately update similar language in other apps to match, like a ripple across a lake. Our industry's processes regarding language data storage are completely out of date and prohibit us from innovating further. We want to change this and enable you to leverage the now, not the past. Thank you.
Nice job, Matthias. And yeah, I think we have a question for you. Are you ready? Olga.
I'm ready.
Yeah, love this. And it would have been very handy 30 years ago when we started with translation memory. And let me tell you, so you say that you have been working with some of your customers, regarding this solution.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any initial performance KPIs you can share with us?
So performance KPIs are always super hard because a KPI would compare it to the old process. Well, we are completely changing the whole process. So in that way, KPIs don't really make sense. We, as a business, we don't want to change like one unique small part of the whole translation workflow, but look at how does the whole translation workflow need to change as a whole. So the first part that we're now doing with customers is validating, do these extra benefits that Blacklake creates, do they provide business value? And if yes, then we'll later go and check, okay, but how much compared to the old business values that were in the traditional process. So the process is in fact really, really different when you're always synchronizing all your data across steps. And it's really about looking at the new opportunities that it brings.
Okay, look forward to hearing what's coming next.
Same here. Thank you, Mathijs. Thank you, Olga. Let's move on to the next pronunciation challenge for me, this time French, I believe. And let me invite to the stage Olivier Libouban, I suppose, to talk about visual context in LLM prompting in software localization and generative translation for a... Wait a minute, there's a mistake. Just visual context for LLM prompting in software localization. Apologies for the typo. Olivier, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Marina. So this is all about software localization. And the keys to software localization is how can we automate everything so that you can send something to an TMS with an LLM and have a prompting where developers don't have to type in the prompt by hand. So next slide. We have an automated system that decides what needs to be sent for translation, and that's all automated. That's there today. And so when you send a string like register, for example, I just checked, you have 16 different translations for register. Which one is the right one? And so how can we send prompting so that you can get the right translation? Next slide. The idea here is to capture context easily. We have 4 methods to do that. And then whenever we send a string, there is a specific screenshot, if you want, or context that is associated with each one of the strings. So you see register here that is about to be sent for translation from localizer. You have the context that has been already associated, and you can check that before even sending that to translation or after if you want to. So what happens here is that you'll have an LLM that will have a context what is previously captured by 4 methods, and then you send that to either an LLM directly or to a TMS with an LLM where you will be able to review the translation together with the context in the TMS. Next slide. So pretty much it's a little bit small at the bottom here, but we have a way to send strings to a TMS in a specific format where you'll have both the prompt that will be automatically created and the context that has been captured to translate here a word that's code. And if you think that code is for something that you put on in that instance, the prompt would actually tell you, well, that's not this prompt. You're thinking of a different prompt. So it will enable to have a much faster way to have a translation that has been decently created via a context has been captured from the dev side. That's the idea. That's it for me. Less than 3 minutes late.
Great to see you, Olivier. Nicely done. No, you are well on time. You 25 seconds left, by the way. So maybe you can use that in the answer to a question, which I'm sure Celine will have for you.
Okay, I'll use all those seconds. I've got a few questions into one. So you mentioned 4 methods of prompting. I'm curious to know a little bit more about that. As well, you mentioned you can send it to TMS or an LLM. Can you do both at the same time, as in leveraging the TM first and then sending to LLM? And then do you have any validation steps into your workflow?
All right, thank you, Céline. Bonjour, peut-être. So first, the 4 methods. The first methods of capture. If you have a web app, we have an automated plugin where you click a button and it captures the text and it associates it with the right string in the repo, so we know exactly what you captured. So that's one. The second one is from Figma. If you're doing something in Figma, which is typically the trend right now for us anyway, that's what we're seeing with our customers. You'll get that automatically. The design element is going to be captured as a screenshot. The third one is a screenshot directly that you do via the UI. And the fourth one is a screenshot that you do via a CI/CD kind of pipeline. So we have 4 things going from the easiest to a little bit of a harder ones. So that's the context. The second part is can be sent simultaneously to an LLM and a TMS. So typically the workflow is that we send it to one of them. You could have 2 different projects where you'd have the same context captured and send it to each one of them, but it would be 2 different flows then. So instead, we prefer to send it either to an LLM directly with GenAI and it gets returned to the repo. We have something else to validate after that is called localizer QA or linguistic QA if you want. That actually associated was one of the questions from Olga, I think earlier, that associate exactly which string needs to be changed to that translation, and we go back to the repo and we push that directly in the repo, so it's automated. And otherwise, it's more we consider that the TMS and the translators and the reviewers are going to have their role in the TMS. So we send it for the TMS to open it to an LLM and then review it as the review process. I had a third question, but I don't remember what it was now.
Do we have time for that, Dave?
I think you answered them all.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll move on.
Thank you.
Nice one.
So let's move on. I like it how this PIC preliminary is becoming very multilingual. I think now we're switching to Italian. So let me try to say that in Italian and invite to the stage Raffaele Pascale from Argos Multilingual to talk about multilingual content creation with modular AI, smart prompting, and localization intelligence. Raffaele.
Very well pronounced, Marina. Thank you very much. And hi, everybody. I'm Raffaele Pascale. I'm Director of Product Innovation and Solution at Argos Multilingual. And in the next 3 minutes, we are going to talk about the multilingual content creation solution, which is Mosaic Muse. So before doing that, next slide, please. I want to start with a simple truth. So the multilingual content creation, it's still broken most of the times because most global teams rely on fragmented workflows. Usually you write in English, you translate later, then review, and then tweak, but these often miss the mark because the result is inconsistent messaging across markets, or slow time to market, or sky-high costs. So generic AI tools at the moment, off-the-shelf solutions, I mean, do not have yet this fixed, but they are fast, but they lack brand alignment and local nuances for sure. So what if we could skip this chaos and generate, for example, content that is brand aligned, multilingual, and ready to go right from the start? So that's where our innovations comes in. Next slide, please. So our innovation isn't just about generating content, but it's about generating the right content in the right voice for every market. And this is how it works. So basically, we upload the style guides, the glossaries, and any previous blogs or content created with humans before. And then Mosaic Muse scans for you public digital touch points like websites, social media, to learn the brand voice and the mission of the company. Then it builds a brand intelligence layer that actively shapes every prompt and output that you actually ask to the system. This isn't just tagging keywords, but is developing semantic awareness of your brand. So then the dynamic prompting then adapts by region, tone, content format, for example, and a multi-agent AI team in the backend drafts and refines the copy like real writers. So finally, in the end, you have human reviewers ensuring consistency and quality before the delivery. The results is a content that doesn't just speak the language, but it speaks your brand. So it's not a translated content, but a truly local content generated with AI. Next slides, please. The tool actually is fully developed and ready for deployment. These are some screenshots. We can skip, this is the main page where we can select all the, let's say, content that we can generate. Next one, because there are 3 images, one by one. Next slide. Again, there you can create your brand. Yeah, okay. So the gains actually are significant here because you can get up to 50% cost saving, content delivering in hours and not day, and the brand voice aligned in every market and language. So if you are ready to scale with your multi-language content, then Mosaic Muse is your solution. Thank you.
Nicely on time, Raffaele. Nice job. Actually, the question is going to be from me on behalf of Salvo, which is what I'm doing today. See,
right.
Couldn't join us. So, here's the question. Can you provide a bit more insights on how you measured cost savings, reduced delivery time, increased consistency, anything else, reduction of manual steps, stuff like that? Can you give a few more insights on that?
Yeah, sure, because actually the speed is measured on the basis of the workforce, because generating the blogs and the content with AI, I mean, the generation is the one that takes most of the time. So the humans take like hours to write a content, while now you only need to review the content generated by AI, which is already reviewed, by the way, because it's a draft plus review by AI. So 2 models on the back end. And then about the consistency is because retrieving all the information with AI that scrapes the websites and all the, let's say, digital touch points that you insert, social media, wherever, it scrapes literally all the information without being inconsistent, because it also creates a sort of consistency between the information that it finds within the web. And it was the third one, there was a third point that I forgot, Dave, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I think you've covered it. It was the
Okay.
efficiency, but I think you
Oh,
covered it in the
yes.
first two.
Yeah.
So
And it's efficient because it's faster than humans, basically.
great. Thank you very much. Well done.
Welcome.
Thank you, Raffaele. Thanks, Dave. I hope
Welcome.
you enjoyed the role of being a dragon for a day. Yeah. So now let's move on to the next. I think we should call the PIC not Process Innovation Challenge, but Pronunciation Challenge, because we have yet another name. I suspect it's from Persian origin, so let me do my best. Zakiieh Bazyar, independent researcher with AI-powered translation QA tool with adaptive prompt engineering. Zakiieh, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Thank you for perfect pronunciation. And today I'm excited to share my innovation, which is an AI-powered translation QA tool with adaptive prompting. Next slide, please. Many teams simply skip QA because of the project budget or timeline. Manual checks are slow and inconsistent, and enterprise QA tool rely on rigid rules like checking the tags or inconsistencies, but they miss the nuance like fluency and meaning. The CAT tool-based QA needs costly licenses and setup. My solution is different. It delivers QA in different layers. Adaptive prompt also lets you focus QA on accuracy, fluency, terminology, style, even formatting. Because it's layer-based QA, you can even check the source text before translation starts or without any costly setup. Next slide, please. This is what the results look like. The tool creates a clear Excel report. Rows are color-coded by score. Issues are grouped by category, and a chart shows error types. The tool is easy to use because of adaptive prompting. Part of the prompt is hard-coded because of the consistency, and part is visible if anyone wants to tweak it. But even without changes, you just select the criteria and it works right away. So you get advanced AI power in a way that is simple and accessible to everyone. Next slide, please. So here is how the tool works in practice. You pick the language and QA criteria, an AI model, click run, and within seconds or a few minutes for longer text, the tool generates the report. And it's not just theory. Client and linguists on real projects have already used it, and they told me it saved them hours of manual review and gave them faster, clearer insight. Because we've tested this in different steps, and even in some cases when we've delivered the projects, one of us realized that they've missed some issues that the tool flagged it later, so they redeliver it, and you can see their comments at the end of this video. So this turns QA from something many small teams skip into something fast, visual, flexible, and reliable. That's it for me. Thanks for listening.
Great. Zakiieh, lovely. Nice pitch. Well done. Very good on time as well. Olga, do we have a question?
Yes, thanks for this very quick demo. Since you're an independent researcher, what has been the scope of the testing of this tool? And when you say that it's very easy to use, I mean, have you measured basically the learning curve of anybody that would choose to use it?
Yeah, basically, right now I've asked a few of independent linguists as well as NLSP that I'm working with. So the tool is shared with them right now, because the tokens that we are using is just one token and it's not general to everyone. So it's just a beta test. But at this point, because it's just clicking on a few criteria, and they can manage easily by clicking a few ticks and then click on run, and they see their reports fast. They told me that they don't have any struggle working with this tool, basically. So it's quite easy. The only thing that I saw I noticed is when they are dealing with tags and placeholders, because this tool can text tags and placeholders. So that needs prompt anyone who understands regex. So this is the part that maybe localization engineer can help. It has the ability to improve, to give the instruction, but if anyone doesn't have any knowledge about the tags and regex, still it is something coded and hard coded there, so no one needs to touch anything.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you, Zakiieh. And now let's move to another Persian name, at least as far as I can tell. And this is Farhour from Kara Technologist. And he's going to talk about something very, very interesting. This is American Sign Language as a Tier 1 locale. Welcome to the
Thank
stage.
you. That was an amazing pronunciation.
Thank you.
If we have first slide. Yep. My name is Farmehr. The English way of pronouncing it. I'm a CTO and co-founder of Kara Technologies. And we are a world leader in digital accessibility. And our vision is to make all content around the world accessible in every sign language. Next slide, please. We believe that it's an absolute human right for deaf communities around the world to have access to sign language. Sign languages are unique languages, as we all know, and giving captions is really not enough. There are statistics suggesting that only 1 in 3 adults who graduate high school in the US, they have a literacy age of 3rd or 4th grade level. So this is a very important topic. We have seen that on TV, there are human interpreters. So why not just use them? But there is just too much digital content out there being produced daily. And to be honest, humans cannot keep up with the demand. So why don't we use AI? Full AI would be amazing. These days, AI can help with a lot of text-based languages, but at this stage, because of the low resource problem of sign languages around the world, it's just not accurate enough for the current solutions. Next slide. So what is our solution, really? And you can see the screen cap of the working application as it is today. We have developed a solution that combines the scalability that AI allows us to do with the power and accuracy and the nuance of humans editing these translations. The video might not come across really nice and smoothly, but you can see that our translators in-house are editing the translation using our digital avatar in real time. The first pass was done with AI, and our humans translate it afterwards. And they can edit it on the fly, and you get a real-time output from there. We support many of the sign language features. Currently, our focus is American Sign Language, but we are expanding to other sign languages around the world as well. Next slide, please. What does this mean? We believe that this is a 5 times faster solution compared to traditional translations. You go to a studio, you video yourself, 5 times faster at the moment, and this is going to get better even more. Even in our small translation team, this year alone, we are doing more than 200 hours of content being delivered to one single client. And we believe that we can provide this. We currently have the solution. We can provide it as a software solution to many professional translation agencies around the world. And with that, 10 seconds, I'll conclude right there. What are my questions?
Thanks very much, Farmehr. Very, very interesting. And let me just point out that you're probably dialing in very late at your night. Well, we've someone else on the call who also is that I know of. That's Celine. Celine, do you have a question for Farmehr?
I'm in Australia, so I was really keen to see if it was doing Auslan as well. So that's great to know. I'd like to know a little bit more about how you've trained this. I'm just curious on all the work that goes behind the scene to get to this point. It seems very user-friendly with lots of little buttons to tweak potentially for the human as well. And I think you touched on it a little bit on some of the documentation I read, but I assume you have a diversity in the emojis you can show as well.
Absolutely. So our solution is quite modular. So we combine a proprietary way to drive our digital avatars, and we have a notation system that basically reduces the language to a way that's machine readable, because it's a movement-based language, or languages rather. So we have created this way to provide those specific emojis. Facial expressions are very important, emotions are very important, shift of the body is very important. So we have created this, and we have trained our LLMs. We have a suite of LLMs, and we have trained them to take in the information in text-based format and translate it into this notation system that is then read by our engine to drive the digital humans. In ASL, for example, we have more than 14,000 vocabulary data set of signs per se, and we have generated ways of creating additional signs on the fly. For example, finger spelling your name. Names are very unique, so we can finger spell any and all nouns. Hope that answers the question in a short amount of time.
It does. Really nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. I really love this innovation. I'm really happy we could have you on the PIC. And let's move to the very, very last participant. And this is a participant who unfortunately cannot be here in person today because he is enjoying the week in the wilderness of Norway with no signal and away from civilization, which is a pity because I'm sure he would have appreciated the pronunciation of his name. So let's welcome on video Klaus Fleischmann from Kaleidoscope, who's gonna talk to us about model context protocol for terminology and terminology augmented generation. Dave, if this audio is not playing well, please give me a sign so that we fix that. So here is Klaus on a video.
Hi everybody, and welcome to my PIC pitch for LocWorld in Monterey 25. I'm going to pitch our model context protocol implementation of terminology augmented generation. What does that mean? Well, if you look at companies and the state of Gen AI, you will see that companies are investing a lot into it, but not really getting the benefits out. A lot of reasons, of course, but two that we can solve as a language industry is the lack of context, specific context of that company, products, etc., and of course the lack of corporate language or terminology. Typically, the way AI engineers try to solve this is by prompt engineering, which we all know has its token limits, etc. Retrieval augmented generation, which is really hard to predict and control. It's also slow and expensive, or just using Excel files and glossaries, which doesn't really add a lot of context to it. But we do have terminology as language divisions, so let's use it, and we can use it with TAG. TAG is based on 4 principles. A, terminologies are stored in a structured data model, so we know exactly where to find what piece of information. Precise retrieval. We don't get a lot of embellished stuff around it. We get exactly the data that we want and not more than that. And we can output it flexibly in formats that LLMs can process, such as slightly structured, markdown, for example, or simply prose. And finally, we can do it in real time, so we don't have to upload something again and again. A few use cases, not as a video because that would take so long. For example, a translation use case. Here we have an ambiguous sentence where a machine distributor in one case means a piece of equipment, but then it means a company or a human being. Of course, GPT can't get it right. It doesn't know the difference. But with TAG, we can add that bit of information, just the definition, and the LLM already gets it right. Or, for example, we can verify terminology, and then TAG returns forbidden synonyms and says, don't use error code, use fault code, and bingo, we fix it. Or a chatbot, for example. So if I ask ChatGPT what a bolter miner is, it says, I don't know, maybe it's a typo, maybe it's fictional, maybe it's a misspelling, I don't know. But if we add with TAG the information from the term base, for example, the definition, then the chatbot gets it right. But how do we plug that into a corporate LLM? Well, we use MCP. MCP is kind of like the USB-C connector for AI systems. So we have a term base on the one hand side, which is configured and operated by the terminologists and localization people in our company. And then we add the MCP layer in between the term base and the LLM. And the MCP really provides an agentic access to the terminology. So the LLM by itself decides when it should call the term base. So in some of these use cases, for example, the LLM decides, might be really helpful to consult the term base and see if I can get some context out of it. And by doing that, we close the gap between the language divisions and the AI engineers. And most importantly, we keep ourselves in the loop in the AI game. Thank you very much, and I hope I'll see you all live in Monterey.
Nice job, Klaus. Good on time. Hello, Klaus. Where is he?
But we have
so,
Anna instead.
Yes.
Hey, Anna. How's
Hi.
it going? Well pitched. Ventriloquism pronunciation guide, please. I have a question for you, Anna.
Yes.
Can you give a bit more insights on, how you measure quality and productivity improvements with this?
Okay, so we just recently released the MCP server. So customers that have been using so far have only been using tag. But for example, with MCP, the whole implementation is not needed anymore. So with MCP and the tag together, the integration is very simple. So that already saves a lot of time and costs for the implementation. We have also recently released a paper where we tested tag to show how much it increases, like how well it performs, and that it consistently uses the terminology. So far, I currently don't have any specific numbers, but we've gotten feedback from some of our customers saying that, for example, for the translation, if you just use a machine translation, it doesn't use the terminology, and it's very tedious to find the correct terminology, to look it up, and all that time is saved. And then it can just be post-edited without having to focus and find the terminology. I hope that that answers your question.
That helps. Thank you very much, Anna.
You're welcome.
Great. Is that it, Marina? Are we at the end?
Yeah, I feel sad it's over. These were 3 fantastic days.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad I got you to do the pronunciations.
Yeah, I got to
Could have been-
practice quite a few languages here. That's true.
There you go. You
So-
showed your polyglot status off, as they say.
Yeah. So where are we heading now, Dave? What's next?
I'm heading down. Oh no, yeah, we're all hopefully, and you're very welcome to join Lockworld in Monterey in the middle of October. The PIC final will be on the 15th. That's the first official day. So we have a pre-program day at Lockworld, but the first day of the main conference, and on in the afternoon. So we have 6 spots in the final. It's been tradition at the PIC, and now comes the hard part for innovators, of course. You have to wait a little bit, and for judges, the dragons, because they will have to decide among many, many fantastic innovations. So what's going to happen with that, Marina?
So now the dragons will be making the hard decision which 6 of you, of the innovators, are going to be on the stage. And we will let you know probably early next week or by the end of next week. By the end of next week, probably, we will have those decisions, and we will let you know so that you can start packing your luggage for Monterey. And we hope that we are going to see all of you there, even though only 6 are going to be on stage. But hey, it's a great conference, so hope to see you soon.
It just remains for me and Marina to thank all of our innovators today. Really great job, everybody. You did yourselves proud. Want to thank our dragons, Olga and Celine, and anyone else who stayed up late. Well done. It's really appreciate you doing this live where you're able to do that. So we'll hopefully see you in Monterey. If not, keep an eye on our channels and find out more about the PIC and where we're going to be. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you. See you soon.
Thank you.